What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Let's Read the Whole Bible and Talk About It. This is part 4, day 4. We are going to be reading Genesis chapter 4, so 4 is across the board, and we're going to be super excited for today. Things were just heating up. Man and woman have been cast out of the Garden of Eden. They have made mistakes. God is punishing them for this, and now we get to see how the rest of their life turns out, that it is not a paradise anymore. And as always, before we get started, a couple notes I want to make. There were a couple of questions I had in my inbox about a couple things I want to go ahead and address. Let's go ahead and knock these questions out. Um, the first question I had was, well, Adam and Eve could live forever until they ate the fruit. From what we've read so far, this is not true. It was never specified that Adam and Eve were immortal when created, that they were just created like any other thing. It never says that they were explicitly immortal so far. Everything that I've read, it just straight down word for word. We never get the word immortal or live forever. Um, and we actually hear God say at the end of chapter 3 that he cast them out of the garden lest they eat also of the tree of life and gain eternal life. So they, I don't see a reason to believe that they could live forever and ever and ever and ever, because they hadn't ate of the tree of life, or God would have no reason to prevent them from eating the tree of life if they were already, immortal in the first place. So I don't believe Adam and Eve were immortal. I don't see any evidence of it so far. Um, they can definitely die, though. God said now that you've eaten the fruit, you're gonna, to go until you turn to the dust of the earth, and so and so. So they definitely can die. Now, could they have died before this? Possibly. Um, Another thing I got, it was a comment said, God never told Eve not to eat the fruit. Um, I looked at that, and that's true. He actually, from what we see, he told Adam not to eat the fruit. Eve wasn't created yet. Eve was created later, and then the serpent says, hey, eat the fruit. And she's like, yeah, but God told us no. So either God told her later at a separate time, or Adam told her, um, and then she knew from what Adam said. She got a secondary command from Adam that God had said so and so. Um, which also makes up a good point that Adam would have been stronger in his conviction because he would have been directly told the order, where Eve would have been the weaker because she was told by somebody else that somebody else said something. So Eve definitely was the weaker link here, and maybe the serpent knew that. Maybe the serpent knew that and decided, hey, let's go for the weakest one here. Let's take them out first, and the rest will fall. So, and the last thing, Adam and Eve didn't die. This is big because God said in this chapter 2 that in the day ye eat of it, ye shall surely die. They definitely didn't die the day they ate that fruit. Um, they've been cast out. Matter of fact, I don't even know if a whole day has passed yet, so they may die later that day. But so far, they didn't just instantly die, and God really made it sound like they would die. The best I can come up with is that their way of life died because now they can't be in the Eden anymore. Now they have to go out. They're gone. Excuse me. Take a sip. A Black Label Mountain Dew. Better. If I'm gonna get a sponsor from anything for making these videos, Mountain Dew. Let's do it. Um, Black Label Mountain Dew definitely better than the regular Mountain Dew. Um, Black Label better. Sponsorship deal. Hashtag Black Labels Matter. Let's get that in Twitter. Black Labels Matter. All right. So without any further interruptions, we are going to get started with chapter 4. Adam and Eve have been cast out of the garden. There is a flaming sword and angels guarding this tree of life in the Garden of Eden now. They're definitely not going back, not without meeting heavy resistance. So, we start off chapter 4, verse 1. And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. So here, this is the first sex scene in the Bible right here set up. First time that sex has happened. This is conception, obviously, and she had a son named Cain. I've gotten a man from the Lord. We are now to assume that children come from the Lord. The mother carries them, but they come from the Lord. That's what we've got. I've gotten a man from the Lord. And of course, Lord, we've only known one Lord, that is God, so we can safely assume that children come from God. And she again bare his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. Now, Cain and Abel, here we go, same time. I don't know the age difference between these two. I can assume they're twins because it just says, and again she bare. I mean, could that be again right back to back? Or are we talking like one is older than the other? Older brother Cain. He'd be older even if they were twins. It says his name first. I'm assuming he's born first. We don't know the age gap. But now we have two new characters, twin brothers possibly, but older, younger brother, Cain and Abel. These are the first children that have been born of a natural birth. They are very important. These are natural born children, not created from the dust of the ground or the rib of an already existing human. And in process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground and offered an offering unto the Lord. So time passed, they are farming, and Cain brought some fruit of the ground and said, here you go, Lord, this is my offering to you. We've got servitude now, offering to God. Before, God appeared to be as a person that walks among us, a friend, if not even slightly a parent, as he was instructed his children that he obviously created. You create your child, you're going to instruct them to do things and raise them a certain way. But now we're talking about bringing offerings to the Lord. This is the first time that it's mentioned that we must offer anything to him. I don't know why they would be doing this. It's just you're offering things to the Lord. This is for the first time. We've got no instructions to offer things. We've got no reason to offer things to God, but apparently we do. So Cain has brought fruit as an offering, and Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock, and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering, but unto Cain and his offering he had no respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. So Cain brought forth fruit of the ground that he had worked hard on. He said, here you go, Lord, here's the fruit that I have made. Abel brought the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof, and the Lord liked Abel's but didn't like Cain's. It seems the Lord prefers animals as offerings to vegetation, but Cain's not even a a shepherd or anything. Like he's a gardener. What's he supposed to do for meat? So Cain's upset about this. Cain is definitely upset. Like he worked hard. He grew crops. He gave them to the Lord. And Abel worked hard, had his animals, gave them to the Lord. Lord was cool with Abel, but not with Cain. So I wonder what's going on here. And the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance fallen? That is really? You just told the guy you didn't like his stuff, and now you're saying that, I worked hard on this. I gave you my offering, and then Lord comes back on to Cain and says, well, why are you sad? What's up? That sounds a little condescending. Definitely condescension. So Cain worked hard, gave it. now, I mean, he's really upset now. If thou dost well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou dost not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. Let's reread this one more time. This is, and the Lord said unto Cain, Why art thou wroth, and why is thy countenance fallen? So he's just asking, well, why are you upset? If thou doest well, shall thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. And Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass, when they were in the field, and Cain rose up against Abel his brother, and slew him. Whoa. That escalated quickly. That 0 to 100 real quick. He liked your stuff, but not mine. Die. Like, just murdered him. Like, this is the first murder. This is it. The verse before this, I don't know here directly if God is speaking, and the Lord said unto Cain, Why art thou wroth? If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. Sin lieth at the door. We don't know anything about sin yet. It just says sin lieth at the door. Okay. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. It has to be talking about sin like it's a thing, like it's a person. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. This verse right here just seems very out of place. Very out of place. I mean, we got, and why are you sad? And then if thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? But in Cain's eyes, he did do well. He thought he did well, no instructions against it. And if thou doesn't do well, sin lieth at the door. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. And Cain talked with his brother Abel. And it came to pass when they were in the field, and Cain rose up and slew him. That's big. This is the first murder. Cain has killed his younger brother Abel because he was jealous. Abel got accepted and Cain didn't, but Cain didn't get accepted here because he gave the fruit that he made, and Abel gave his firstborn animal. And wow. And the Lord said unto Cain, Where is Abel thy brother? Again, not knowing where Abel is, I assumed he tried to reach out to Abel, and he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? Wow, so we have sarcasm coming from Cain. He definitely doesn't like God anymore. He's just like sarcastic to him now, like, who cares about your opinion? You're condescending, and I don't care. Sarcasm. Am I my brother's keeper? And he said, What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. So the dead can talk to God at this point. When you die, you definitely can still speak to God. Either that, or he sees the blood and he understands what happened. The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. So he can definitely see. I don't know what Cain did with the body. I'm gonna have to assume he just buried it, hid it. That's big. So God figured it out. Like, hey, I see what you did here. This is bad. So let's see what the punishment pile has for Cain, because we've seen before punishment pile, especially there's only 4 human beings on the planet, and one of them just got killed, axed off. Axe maybe, I don't know what they use. They sickles, children of the corn stuff for farming. Um. Verse 11, And now art thou cursed from the earth, which has opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. So he has laid a curse on Cain here. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. And Cain said unto the Lord, My punishment is greater than I can bear. So the punishment he has just received is not being able to farm anymore. So it's not going to yield fruit. It's not going to yield the earth's natural strength. You'll be a fugitive and a vagabond. So Cain's entire well-being has just been taken from him. There's no carnivores. Everything's herbivore so far. Yeah, chapter 1, verse 30, everything eats plants, and Cain can't grow plants. Now he's done. That's greater than he can bear. He has lost his ability to eat, unless he finds other food from other people. It's just Adam and Eve. Where are Adam and Eve? Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that every one that findeth me shall slay me. So God says, from his face, or from thy face shall I be hid. God's not looking at Cain anymore. He's like, forget about it. I'm done. I'm done working with you. This is too much. You killed your brother. That's sick. So I'm done. I've got no dealings with you anymore. The world's not gonna have dealings with you anymore. Adam and Eve, I guess, won't want to have dealings after they figure out the death of their son. That's gonna be pretty tragic. There's only 4 people again. And it shall come to pass that every one that findeth me shall slay me. Who's everyone here? We only heard about 4 people. One of them's dead again. I guess his parents are gonna be mad and want to kill him, but you can't kill, because if you killed, you'd be just as bad. And we've seen what happens to murderers; they get cursed right here. And the Lord said unto him, Therefore whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. So there are more people on the planet right now. In that gap, in this undisclosed gap, God must have created more people, because he says, Whosoever shall slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken upon him sevenfold. There's nobody else that we've seen so far. The gap between Cain and Abel, there must have been more creations. God must have scattered people here and there, just not said anything about it. Again, only 2 people. It doesn't say anything about them having more children. These are the 2 children. Maybe they had more children. Maybe there was more people scattered everywhere. We don't know. But Cain is scared that, since everybody now knows he's a murderer, because news travels fast when there's only like 16 people. I mean, you just kind of yell it out, hey, other 16 people, that he killed so-and-so, and now everybody knows. I mean, faster than Facebook. Faster than liking and sharing a post on Facebook. It spreads like that. So Cain now has a mark upon him that nobody should kill him. He's going to have to live the rest of his life not being able to find food because he can't farm. And God put a mark on. What does a mark like that even look like? I wonder. Is it like just mark on the forehead, do not kill, written across his forehead? Please don't kill me. I'm pretty sure Abel probably would have said that. Like, hey, can I get one of those marks? But no, Abel didn't get that. And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. So he's out of the presence of the Lord now. So the Lord has a presence. He's somewhere. And now Cain is over here, not near the Lord. So Cain is definitely hidden from the Lord at this point. The Lord don't want nothing to do with him. He's dwelling in another land. So this entire land had to have been established. The land of Nod, east of Eden, has to be established land. Somebody named it. There must be other humans here. So God must have been really busy at work in these time gaps, making a lot of people. And Cain knew his wife. So there is definitely another woman somewhere that he had to know, have sex with, obviously. That we've seen it before. You know your wife, and then all of a sudden she conceives. So that has to be sex. and he bare Enoch. So Enoch is the son of a murderer, and he builded. Not even kidding. This is the word. King James Version. Follow along. And he builded a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son Enoch. So Cain built his own city in the land of Nod because he was by himself. I don't know where Cain's getting food from at this point, but somebody's bringing him food. Probably his wife, because he can't farm anymore. Maybe she farms now. She brings home the bacon. Well, no bacon. There's no food yet. No, it's vegetables. She brings home the bacon fruit. And now he's named his own city. And unto Enoch was born Irad. So Enoch has a son. We're getting down in the lines here. And Irad beget Mejuel, and Mejuel beget Methusael, and Methusael beget Lamech, and Lamech took unto him 2 wives. All right, so we have our first case here of polygamy. He has 2 wives. God never said that there was a limit on how many wives you can have, only that you were man and wife, and the husband should leave his mother and father and cling to his wife, and they should be one flesh. So I'm assuming you can have a lot of wives and be like even bigger flesh and just keep getting bigger and bigger until you have like 30 wives, and then you just be huge at this point. You'd be big. And the name of the one was Ada, and the name of the other was Zillah. So Ada and Zillah, that's Lamech's 2 wives. And Ada bare Jabal, and he was the father of such that dwell in tents and have cattle. So Jabal is the father of basically nomads, people who dwell across the land. Jabal was their ancestor, and his brother's name was Jubal, and he was the father of such to handle the harp and organ. These are much more elegant people. The harp being an elegant instrument. This may be, so one's going to beget nomads. They're going to start traveling the world. The other one's going to have the harp and the organ. They're going to be musically inclined. They're going to go and probably establish great cities with elegance and class. And Zillah, she also bare Tubal Cain. I like how the name Cain is incorporated into that. An instructor of every artificer in the brass and the iron. Well, that is quick. And the sister of Tubal Cain was Naamah. We have the artificer of brass and iron. The brass age and the iron age. People have learned how to forge metal very quickly. This is assuming all these people had kids by the time they were about 20, like we would have them today. I don't know what the lifespan is of these people, but they haven't died yet. Or I don't know if their fathers have died. It doesn't say. But Enoch, it says 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, basically 100 years-ish. Into here, we're dealing with people already having brass and iron knowledge. That was quick. And Lamech said unto his wives, Ada and Zillah, hear my voice. Ye wives of Lamech, hearken unto my speech. Okay, so hey wives, listen. For I have slain a man to my wounding, and a young man to my heart. If Cain shall be avenged 7-fold, shout out to Avenged 7-fold, truly Lamech 70 and 7-fold. I'm probably just gonna have to reread this entire thing. This is big. This is confusing here. If Cain shall be avenged 7-fold, truly Lamech 70 and 7-fold. So Lamech has definitely come down the generations. I'm assuming 7 generations. And Adam knew his wife again. Whoa. We have Adam again. This man's got to be at least 100 years old at this point, assuming this is chronological and we're not backtracking again. And she bare a son, and called him Seth, for God and she hath appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew. So God replaced Abel with Seth, said, hey, have another child. This is some odd 100 years later, assuming that we haven't backtracked. And to Seth, to him also was born a son, and he called him Enos. Then began men to call upon the name of the Lord. So Cain's descendants are not going to call upon the name of the Lord because he hates the Lord. And he probably taught all his children, no, God is not good. God's terrible. He's condescending. He didn't appreciate my offering I worked hard for. I don't even know why. I don't even know why at this point that he didn't appreciate the offering. I have no idea. God prefers meat, I guess. How would we have known that? God kind of. I'm almost wanting to side with Cain here because according to what I've read, I don't see a reason for him to say no, and he hasn't instructed Cain in any way that he wanted any particular thing so far. Maybe that'll change. Hopefully, we'll get an explanation for that. And to Seth, to him was also born a son called Enos, and began the man of the name who called upon the name of the Lord. So Enos is now I'm assuming he's still in the presence of the Lord here, and now he's going to raise his children to say, "Hey, Lord, come on and call upon His name. Bring the Lord to them." But that is the end of chapter 4, guys. So big key points. We have the first murder. I don't know necessarily if this is the first murder, because again, now that they've established that there are other humans on the planet somewhere, other human beings are somewhere. There may have been other murders we don't even know about. But he slew Abel. How do you even know how to kill somebody at this point? I mean, I guess you know who. No, I mean, there was really no death. Everything's vegetarian. Nothing's killing anything. So you would have had to really try to really just hit somebody with anger and just beat them until they didn't move anymore. Just a passionate story about a guy that was really jealous of his brother. Escalated really quick. And the Lord cursed Cain. We have a lot of people being born now. Generations are starting to form. People are moving. Now we have groups of people who don't like the Lord and groups of people that do. And then, of course, it's telling us that some people were nomads and some were, rich people. And some people, people did different things. There are people of different trades. And now we have brass and iron already. That is very quick for human beings to move so quickly to metal within a couple of generations after being born. But good chapter, guys. Great chapter. This is good for our daily read. That's going to conclude chapter 4. And the video is a little long today, but we had a lot to talk about. This was big. This was a huge event. Murder taking place. And humanity is splitting apart as we know it. Not only have we been cast out of Eden, we have further been divided into like God and don't like God categories. So stay tuned for tomorrow because day 5 is going to be big. Chapter 5, maybe we'll learn about these descendants of Enos or these descendants of Jabal and Jubal, I believe it was, without looking back right offhand. We are going to learn about these descendants and what they do now that they don't like God and do. I can feel a war starting to come, that we're going to get conflict and battles and really setting up here for big things. So, as always, guys, make sure if you followed me all the way to the end of this video, leave a like, share the video, get it out there, other people's pages, Bible in the newsfeed. We're going to do this every day. King James Version, if you want to follow along in your Bible, we are going to read the Bible word for word. And last, if you catch this, someone commented that my position has to change from leaning towards atheist. I cannot identify as an atheist anymore because as the laws of atheists apply, I cannot believe in any religion. Hate it, not hate it, it just doesn't exist. But in the way that I'm reading the Bible, I have to now identify as agnostic because now I know and I'm looking and have to believe I'm reading the Bible assuming that it is all true. So I must at this point be agnostic because as long as I'm reading and assuming it's true, now what I take away from it is hit or miss, but I would identify as agnostic now. So somebody did point that out. So guys, have a great rest of the day and stick around for the next video. Hit that subscribe if you're on YouTube, like and share if you're on Facebook, and make sure to follow along because this is going to be a powerful series and everybody needs a little Bible in their life, whether you love it, whether you hate it. You need to know it's culture, it's in your life. So, peace.